The Evergreen Media Network Studio, powered by Scott Tree Services.
Hola, bienvenidos a Whatever with Lou. I am Lou Navarro y soy un realtor, un agente de bienes raíces con Remax Crown Realty. And as you can see, I will be doing this show sometimes in English, sometimes in Spanish, algunas veces en español, or even in Spanglish. And this show will be about whatever the day brings that we can talk about and will be beneficial for the Treasure Coast community. You can follow me in my social media as Lou Navarro, the Realtor. And today, the episode will be about Florida Hometowns Heroes Housing Program. This is a down payment assistance program that is available to residents in Florida and is provided by Florida Housing Finance Corporation. To talk about that, we have invited Ray Benavides. He is with Motor Mortgage, and he is a certified and approved loan officer for this program. So we can go over all the details about this program. So good morning, Ray.
Good morning, Lou. How are you?
Good. So this program is effective as of yesterday, right?
That's correct. The program went live yesterday, July 1st, with $100 million of funding.
All right. So this $100 million of funding is available to the residents of Florida. And who will be eligible for this?
So the program, when it started a couple of years ago, was directed towards firefighters, police officers, nurses, and teachers. Well, the program was so successful that those individuals achieved, or the state with those individuals achieved that goal. And so there was about 18,000 new buyers. So last year, when there was excess funding, the state went for a modification and now allows all citizens of the state of Florida that are employed by a Florida employer or an employer that, for example, has authority to do business in the state to be eligible. So that's the first qualification.
All right. So when you say all Florida residents, are there any limitations? Is there any professions that may not apply to this or may not be eligible to this program?
So as far as eligibility in professions, the answer to that is no. Now, there is a pre-qualification, and actually there's several, but the first and most important one is that the person must be a first-time home buyer.
Okay.
So that means that the home buyer or the purchaser or anyone that's on the loan with that purchaser cannot have had a prior home or real estate owned, for example, on a deed, like maybe as a family member on a deed, for the prior 3 years.
All right. So if anybody has been in a situation that they have to have a short sale or a bankruptcy, they will become a first-time buyers as long as they are within that 3-year time frame. Is that correct?
As long as the 3-year time period has passed, that's correct. Now, the other part of this, too, is that there are certain requirements that could exclude them under that scenario for a short sale or for a deed. So it really just depends, deed in lieu of. So we have to be very careful, and we have to analyze that step by step just to make sure that that person did not get disqualified with that event.
Okay, and there is any specific income limits or credit requirements to qualify?
There sure are. The minimum credit score for all borrowers has to be a 640. That 640 is derived from what they call a tri-merge credit report. That's a report that's used specifically for housing and lending. It specifically has 3 agencies reporting, so that would be Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. And the middle score of the of the two is the determining factor. So, for example, if I had a 590 on one and a 720 on the other and a 640 in the middle, the 640 is the qualifying score. So that's kind of beneficial for an individual. There are times when a person may not have a full tri-merge credit score. So there could be that only two agencies are reporting. So when that happens, we have to look at that case-by-case basis too. So there is a possibility that that person would still be eligible. As far as income limits, every county has an income limit. And so for Brevard County, the combined income for the borrower cannot exceed $128,000.
That's for Brevard?
I'm sorry, for Indian River.
Okay. All right.
And then each county is a little bit different. So example, St. Lucie County was a little bit higher. Brevard County also is a little bit higher. I think the minimum, though, off the top of my head in review of the counties, is that $128,000 threshold.
All right.
And that's annual income, by the way.
Okay. So people understand what the program is. It's called Florida Hometowns Hero Housing Program, and it's for first-time buyers. But it's called down payment assistance. Now, this money can be also used for closing costs, correct?
That's correct. It's a combination. It's one of the only programs that allows, in the industry, they call it DPA, down payment assistance. But it's one of the only programs that allows the person to roll in the actual down payment and the closing costs together to get the most beneficial use out of the state program.
All right. And this is a loan that the government is giving to the first-time buyers, correct?
That's correct. So how this program works, there's the original loan for that purchase itself. The assistance is also a loan called a second mortgage. It is 0% interest, 0 payment for the duration of home ownership. So as an example, if a person purchases the home and 5 years later they decide to move from the home, that second mortgage is also due back to the state. That's how the state can keep rolling the money back into the community, because they require that loan to be paid off and recoup it that way.
All right. So, what is the maximum amount of down payment assistance available through this program?
Great question. So there's a maximum of $35,000 for assistance. There's a minimum. Every loan has a minimum threshold and will receive at least $10,000. In between, then it becomes 5% of the loan value. So a person that has a $250,000 home is going to receive about a loan is going to receive about $12,500 in assistance.
All right. So that means that if I'm qualified, but I don't have money for down payment, this will go towards my down payment or closing costs.
That's correct.
All right. And then what about if I have money and I want to still apply for this program?
That's another great question. The program does not require what they call asset depletion. In other words, if you have the money that's sitting in the bank, you're allowed to use the down payment assistance first, and then whatever differential is needed, you cover from your own personal assets. So it is one way for an individual or a family to spare the cash outlay from personal side, which normally is used for purchasing of furniture, refrigerators, stoves, appliances, things like that. So it actually works out really well for the state and for the borrower.
All right. So when people receive this money, is brought to the table. It is only applied towards down payment or closing costs, or can it be applied to both at the same time?
It's applied to both at the same time.
All right. Perfect.
Or one or the other at whatever discretion we need to use.
All right. And how can somebody apply to this program?
Great question again, Lou. So pre-qualification is a very important piece to this program. So one way to find a loan officer, and not just necessarily in Indian River County, but anywhere in the state of Florida, is to use a program called mortgagematch.com or mortgagematchup.com. And in that, you're going to be turned to a search engine. You just type in the zip code, and you're going to find out who the top loan officers are in your region, and that's really kind of important.
So in this case, in this county, are you one of them?
I am actually always in the top, and for the last year. Thanks for asking, but I have been in the top 5 for the last year.
Just kudos for you, right?
It is. Thank you very much.
All right. So let's say that somebody is pre-qualified for a loan for $250,000, but they do not have the money for the down payment. So they're trying to pull their money from wherever, but they can. So they will contact you, or, how do they go about finding who is a loan, a certified loan officer from this program?
Well, that's another great question. Some loan officers and companies are, and some are not. Now, the state of Florida does maintain a list of registered lenders, which is available. So
that's the Florida Housing.
That's right, Florida
Finance
Housing
Corporation, right?
They maintain that list. But you could also just simply contact the loan officer and ask them if they're certified to apply for, or certified to help with the pre-qualification for that program.
All right. And what is needed to apply? What documentation do they need to supply to you? Another
good question. So every borrower must have a Social Security number. They must have, of course, proof of residency or some sort of proof of employer in the state of Florida. All right. So that's usually, we can verify that with a pay stub or even a W-2. So a W-2, pay stub, driver's license is a requirement. If you're a veteran, pay attention very closely. A veteran, we need a copy of your DD-214, but it's the very special copy of your DD-214. There are 6 copies. The copy we need is the service member copy. The service member copy is very important because it tells us the type of discharge that was available to that veteran. So the program makes it very clear that all veterans are eligible except for those discharged other than honorable.
Okay.
All right. So there are general discharges, there's medical discharges, there's emergency discharge, there's, of course, the standard honorable discharge, but anything other than a dishonorable is eligible.
All right. And going back to who is eligible, when you said who was, you said something about they have to be working for a Florida-based company. Can you elaborate a little bit more about that?
Sure. And actually, it's not just work for a Florida-based company. It could also be a person who is self-employed and owns their own business in the state of Florida as well. So it pretty much, if, for example, if a person worked for Cleveland Clinic, we know that Cleveland Clinic is a Florida-based organization. But let's say they work for a company like Oracle Corporation, as an example. Right? Well, Oracle is headquartered not in this state, but it has the right to work in this state through its state registry. So we have to validate that.
All right. And then is how easy or how complex is the process to apply?
The application process is no different than any other standard mortgage process, with the one caveat that we have to make sure the credit score is above 640. We have to make sure that we have Florida-based employers or right to work in Florida. And I don't think there's anything really special outside of those 2 requirements. Of course, income has to be verified as well, but generally, it's a very simple, straightforward application pre-qualification process. It depends on the type of mortgage lender that you're working with. Some will do what I just said. In my case, I go a little bit deeper on that, and I'm going to make sure that when I take that file, I'm going to do another check on it through what they call the Federal Automated Underwriting System. And so what that does is it tells me that if a person has all the pre-qualifications in place and the assumption is that the loan is going to go forward, then I'm going to run that through that system, and it's going to tell me if that file is transferable to the government. Because for FHA, VA, USDA, and those are the 3 government programs that are allowed, and also the conventional. But in the government programs, they want to make sure that file meets the underwriting requirements of that government agency as well. And that's what that additional review does for us.
All right.
At Sunshine Furniture, our 35,000 square foot showroom is filled with the largest selection of in-stock coastal furniture on the Treasure Coast. Dining and bedroom sets, occasional tables, sofas, sleeper sofas, love seats, and chairs in all the latest styles and colors from Tommy Bahama, Lexington, Hooker, Riverside, Universal, Four Seasons, Braxton Color, and Capri. We're the outdoor furniture experts and have hundreds of styles of any patio furniture you need, including a gallery of Berlin Gardens, Hollywood, and Kingsley Bait. We specialize in fire bits, outdoor rugs, umbrellas, and replacement cushions. Right now, we're having a super summer sale with lots of great markdowns and discounts on everything you need for your Florida home, including all pictures, lamps, and accessories are half price. Sunshine Furniture, $12.95 US 1 in the Publix Plaza, Vero Beach. Don't forget to visit our outlet store directly across the street and visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com.
Sunshine Furniture.
Are you becoming a realtor, contractor, mold remediator, guardian? In the state of Florida, these and many other industries require a Level 2 live scan background check for clearance to work in your industry. A1A Fingerprints is your certified live scan source from Broward to Brevard. And if you're a medical provider, you need to be registered on the ACA web portal. A1A Fingerprints will help you navigate and comply with the law. Call 772-494-6556 or visit a1afingerprints.com. A1A Fingerprints.
Hey, you! Host your very own show every week at Evergreen Media Network in Vero Beach. Go live to YouTube and Facebook with up to 4 people and your very own producer. Be heard on more than 15 podcast platforms and local radio. All you have to do is show up and talk. Your guests can join from anywhere in the world. It's easy to get started with the largest podcast studio on the Treasure Coast. Contact Evergreen Media to tour the studio.
And we're back. So, what's the maximum allowance for this program?
So the state has set the limit for $35,000 as the maximum that they're going to afford an individual. Mm-hmm. And that's how they get the number of about 6,800 loans that are offered out through the program. So it's a great opportunity for people in the state.
And so just to be clear and people understand, this is for first-time home buyers, right?
That's correct, a first-time home buyer.
And what about if, I want to sell my house, I want to refinance, or, I want to buy another house after this? What happened with this program?
So that would be an exclusion. First of all, if you already have a house and you want to buy another house, the home ownership requirement for a first-time home buyer states that you cannot have owned a home in the 3 years prior to the loan. So that would be an exclusion. If the person owned a property, for example, let's say that they were part of a family member on a deed somewhere. And by the way, this is not just in the state of Florida, all right, ownership. It's nationwide. So when they do the search of the person's names, they'll find out if a person has had ownership prior to.
Okay.
Right? So 3 years is the actual hard fast rule for that.
Okay. All right. So let's say that, 2 years goes by and I decide to move out of that house and rent it.
Okay.
What happens?
Well, you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to take the house and rent it. However, the second mortgage, which is the 0% interest and the zero payment, which is actually the assistance to the state, is due. It'll be called.
So it means that if somebody wants to rent their property or refinance or, sell the house at any point of time, that's when the assistance loan is due.
That is correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
All right. Okay. So, who can they contact if they have any questions or need support during this, to know more, a little bit more about this program?
Well, certainly they can contact our office, Model Mortgage Riverside up in Sebastian. Our phone number up there is 772-571-5671. And you can ask for myself or for another loan officer in the office, Gina Melton, or Christy. Her her last name just escapes me right now, but Christy as well. And then also David McKelvey. Model Mortgage Riverside is locally owned, and we're locally operated. We like keeping the dollars in the local government or in the local communities because for every dollar spent locally,
Okay.
there's a pay forward of $5
Oh,
to
that's
the economy.
awesome. That's awesome.
So keeping it here,
I did not know that.
Yeah, it actually promotes the community really well.
Cool. And let me ask you a question that I'm pretty sure everybody is asking out there. Have you helped assisted people in the past with this program?
Absolutely. This is the third year the program's been running, and we've become expert at the program since it was offered to us. So when it first came out, we were not an eligible borrower, but one of our major lenders, now two, have actually given us the authority under their certification to continue to represent them and to help bring these loans to the community.
And just so you know, realtors too, we do become certified by Florida Housing Finance Corporation. I am one of them. So you can go directly to their website and look either for a realtor or for a loan officer, and it will give you a list of who is approved and certified to provide information about this loan. In this case, to provide the loan application for the program. And also, I want to let you know that last year, me and Ray, we did help a few of our families to become first-time home buyers through this program. So the program works. If you need more information, please make sure to contact us. You can call me at 954-205-0700. And remember, if you like this episode, let me know. Or if you find that somebody will benefit from this, share with them and leave any questions or any comments. And until next episode, whatever we know, we'll see you. Ciao, ciao. Thank you, Ray.
You're welcome.